Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka Mono Bluetron, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Now because the TCG is kind of just waiting for Worlds right now, and because I'm incredibly sick and therefore can't do proper commentary, and finally because there's still sign-up time available for this month's tournament, I figured instead of a regular episode, I would do a quick Trinity pick and mix. If any of you have any interest in this format at all, just download one of these decks from the description, sign up, and you're well on your way to winning real cash prizes for a literal $0 entry fee. Links in the description, and you've got till tomorrow, and don't worry, the Discord people are more than happy to help you if you want to play something else. But why would you? These decks are cool. Before we get into the lists, however, let's do a quick refresher for any of you who don't know about or haven't heard about Yu-Gi-Oh's third best format. Trinity has 3 rules, that's where it gets its name from. Either that or Yu-Gi-Oh! Tem and Joey, the holy trinity of late 90s Funimation anime. 1. Your minimum deck size is 30, and you can only play one of any individual card. 2. You can include a second copy of any card, or 1 copy maximum of a semi-forbidden card, these are really powerful cards like Graceful Charity, at the cost of 5 additional main deck cards. And 3. You are only permitted 3 effect monster summons a turn. And that's it. There's a couple of cards that are immune to the Highlander rule, like cards that use additional copies of themselves, because who wants to play with 1 malicious, and vanilla monsters, but everything else works exactly how it says on the tin. It usually ends up feeling like GOAT format, but you get to play with newer cards. If you'd like to dip your toes in the format, go right ahead. Every month we host a tournament on Dueling Book over the course of a couple of weeks, and we mail special editions of the latest set to the winner. There's no entry fee, so sign up below any time tonight or tomorrow. Almost anything is viable. We have had people top with Red Eyes, Pacifists, I think even Crawlers topped last month. But what we're here to look at today is Dragon Rulers, Subterror SHADDOLL, and Sky Striker Zodiac. First, let's take a look at Dragon Rulers. One of the main advantages of Trinity is you get to play cards that are banned in the TCG, usually because the summon limit keeps degeneracy in check. That said, Rulers are an extremely powerful option, and the list below represents weeks of deck building by Meepmoto, one of the format admins. Instead of going card by card, because then we would be here all night, we'll talk a little about the strategy behind this deck. Rulers aims to use the Dragon Rulers, I'm sure you've heard of them, to amass a large amount of advantage and provide recurrent beatsticks to a strategy that usually isn't afforded them. This list is playing both a substantial amount of rank 4 monsters, as it aims to consistently make Minerva turn 1 to fuel both Fairy Tail Snow, as well as give enough material to keep the Rulers live. Among these tools are Rescue Rabbit, whose flexibility and ease of summoning under the limit permits wild and explosive OTK and XYZ plays, and the associated normal monsters, which are excellent with the 2 copies of Dragon's Shrine. We're maxed out on the amount of powerful cards we can play, splashing a whopping 6 cards worth of semi-forbidden cards and multiples. This deck is incredibly adept at grinding through opponents' resources, with a bevy of cards that immediately plus, alongside advantage engines like Hidden Armory and the Rulers, it's incredible at outlasting opponents with back row and plowing in for huge lethal swings when the gates are down. Let's see it in action. Our match is against Dark World, and rather than cough over the replay and try to narrate plays with cards that I'm sure some of you have never read, I'll just let the replay replay. Our second deck is SHADDOLL Subterror. Inspired by Pac-Man from way back in the day, this deck attempts to use flip monsters to outscale its opponents and punish their plays. There's 2 reasons we're doing this. Firstly, in a format where summons count, cards like Umastrix or Ultramaphus can be back-breaking, and secondly, because SHADDOLL Construct is legal, and I mean, Jesus Christ, we have to take advantage of that. This deck's only splashing 3 cards worth of duplicates and semi-forbidden cards, mostly to make finding the Hidden City, one of our main playmakers, much easier. There's some cards in here you may not recognize, namely the Schoolyard staples, Swarm of Scarabs, and Swarm of Locusts. Because Subterrors don't demand the monster you set be a Subterror in order to special summon from the hand, these self-flippers are just what the deck needs. In the early game, the deck aims to gum up the board with flip monsters and recurring SHADDOLLs, and when it's time to turn the corner, wield the huge Subterrors as big beatsticks and obscenely powerful flip monsters. Check it out. Our match is up against Spyral. While they can't build link boards like they can in the TCG, the deck is still expected to be a top contender in the upcoming format. Let's see how it turns out. And finally, we have Sky Striker Zodiac. Have you ever heard such a cursed phrase in all of your life? Aiming to beat up on any of the creature decks in the format with the notoriously powerful Zodiac engine, albeit sans Trident, this deck uses the build-a-boss aspect of Zodiacs alongside the power of Sky Strikers 2-for-1s to get a leg up on opponents. It's only splashing for 1 semi-forbidden card, but magical scientists nothing to scoff at. Even though you can't Cannon Turtle FTK, you can still summon Thousand Eyes and overlay into a Princess Sprite, which is pretty good in a deck that's 50% spells. This deck also looks like a who's who of good cards from Trinity, alongside format staples like Avarice, Chalice, Premature Burial, Heavy Storm Duster, and Lost Wind. You're also playing cards like Hebo, a spirit card I'm sure none of you have ever read, and Fairy Tale Luna, who gets a lot better when you realize there's almost no way to out her effect. You may notice that this list is playing 2 Rat Pier at no additional cost. That's because it falls neatly into the category of uses itself, and you're allowed to play 3 as a result. Let's see how it fares. Our match is going to be up against Weathery Kaiju, a deck that aims to lock its opponents out of the game with Gamciel, or bounce Kaijus back to the hand repeatedly with the Weathery Thundery pattern. Let's see how well we fare. So those are the decks. A lot of back and forth in those games, but I think that's what makes this format good. Thanks for watching, even though this content is definitely different than I'm sure you're used to. If you liked any of these lists and want to enter the tournament with them, there's going to be dueling book links in the description alongside a sign-up sheet as well. I hope to play alongside you this month. See you on Monday.